All right, everyone, get ready for today's deep dive. We're going deep into a story that's, well, let's just say it's classic H.P. Lovecraft.
Definitely a bit spooky.
It is, but this one, it's called The Last Test. And it's even more interesting because Lovecraft didn't write this one alone.
A collaboration.
Yeah, he actually co-wrote it with a guy named Adolphe de Castro. And let me tell you, having two minds behind this one, it really adds this extra layer of, I don't know, just eeriness.
Makes sense. Two horror minds are better than one.
Right. And the story, well, it centers around this brilliant biologist named Dr. Alfred Clarendon. He ends up, of all places, as the medical director of San Quentin Penitentiary.
Oh, wow. So we're already in a prison setting. That's creepy.
Yeah, and it sounds kind of normal on the surface, but this is Lovecraft we're talking about. Things are definitely going to get a little strange.
Oh, I'm sure. So what makes The Last Test stand out from other Lovecraft stories?
Well, for one, it takes place in a really interesting time and place, San Francisco in the late 1800s. And guess what? The city's in the grip of a terrifying epidemic. It's called the Black Fever.
Oh, so they're dealing with a very real-world fear, a deadly disease.
Exactly, and that's what makes it even scarier, because it taps into this primal fear of the unknown, of something we can't control. And on top of that, the story really digs deep into these unsettling themes. I'm talking ambition, the relentless pursuit of knowledge, and the terrifying consequences of, well, messing with forces beyond human understanding.
So it's not just a spooky story, it's a reflection on human nature itself.
Right on. Okay, so let's introduce our main characters, shall we? We've got Dr. Clarendon, who is, well, brilliant, no doubt, but also incredibly ambitious, maybe even a little too confident in his abilities. And then there's his old friend, Governor James Dalton, who actually helps Clarendon get that job at San Quentin.
So we've got a connection to power, someone high up in the government.
Exactly. And then we have Clarendon's sister, Georgina. Now, she's fiercely loyal, completely devoted to her brother. Oh, and we can't forget Sarama.
Who's Sarama?
He's Clarendon's assistant. And the way he's described, well, let's just say he's a bit creepy, like super ancient skeletal with this air of unsettling knowledge about him.
Oh, I get it. That feeling of someone who knows just a little too much, the kind of character that makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up.
Exactly. Like, even reading the description gives me the chills. And, right from the get-go, Lovecraft and de Castro set this tone of, I don't know, impending doom with Sarama. Just something about him screams danger.
So we've got this backdrop of a deadly epidemic, black fever. Where does it originate?
Well, wouldn't you know it? It starts right there in San Quentin. And of course, it causes mass panic.
As it would.
Oh, yeah. And the media at the time, they're not exactly helping keep things calm.
So they're playing a big role in shaping public perception, amplifying the fear.
Definitely. And it's almost like looking back at our own times, isn't it? Like the way they seize on this black fever and turn public opinion against Dr. Clarendon, even though he's the one trying to contain the outbreak.
It's like a distorted mirror reflecting our own struggles with misinformation and how easily fear can be manipulated.
Seriously. It's scary how relevant that still feels today. Poor Clarendon. He's battling this deadly disease, and now he's being painted as the villain. Talk about pressure.
It's the worst kind of pressure cooker, especially with his professional rivals lurking in the background. They use this as an opportunity to attack him.
Oh, they saw their chance and took it.
Exactly, accusing him of everything under the sun, incompetence, recklessness, even suggesting he's deliberately letting prisoners die to further his own research.
So not only is he fighting a deadly disease, he's fighting for his reputation. How does he deal with all of this?
Well, here's where we start to see the cracks in Clarendon's character. Instead of defending himself, he basically retreats, withdraws into his work, and isolates himself.
So he's not exactly winning any popularity contests at this point.
No, not at all. And all of this pressure, the constant attacks, the public turning against him, it all takes its toll.
I can imagine.
Eventually, he's forced out of his position at San Quentin and falls into a deep depression. It seems like he's given up, abandoned his research altogether.
Wow, what a fall from grace.
But this being a Lovecraftian tale, things are about to take a truly unsettling turn.
Okay, so last we heard, Clarendon was forced out of his job and was deep in depression. But you were saying that's when things start to get really weird.
Oh, yeah, this is where we dive headfirst into that classic Lovecraft territory.
Hit me with it.
So remember how Clarendon was basically MIA, totally withdrawn? Well, all of a sudden, he bounces back.
like just snaps out of it.
Pretty much. It's super subtle, and he throws himself back into his work like a man possessed.
Okay, that's not creepy at all.
But here's the thing. His behavior, well, let's just say it's not quite right. There's this darkness about him now, this unsettling intensity.
So it's not just the black fever that's spreading, right? It's like something else is infecting Clarendon himself.
You got it, something a lot more insidious.
And this is where Sarama, that creepy assistant, steps back into the picture.
Oh, absolutely. We start seeing more of him, and it's not pretty. He's cruel, especially towards animals. And get this, Clarendon brought back some Tibetan servants from an earlier expedition.
Hold on, Tibetan servants. Where did they come from?
You know, Lovecraft, he likes to keep us guessing. But trust me, these servants, they're important.
Yeah.
Because they start disappearing, and so does Georgina's beloved dog, Dick.
Okay, now that's just messed up.
Oh, it gets worse. Throughout all of this, Sarama, he just chuckles. It's like he's orchestrating the whole thing, getting a kick out of the chaos.
This is getting seriously creepy. So what does Georgina do? She must be freaking out.
She is, but she's also a smart woman. She knows something is terribly wrong with her brother, so she does the only thing she can think of.
What's that?
She reaches out to Governor Dalton. He's powerful, connected. Maybe he can figure out what's going on.
Yeah, she needs someone with clout to help. But what does Dalton uncover?
Well, he finds Clarendon's research notes, and they're full of bizarre entries, all written in ancient Greek script.
Ancient Greek. Like, what was Clarendon even doing with that?
It's a Lovecraftian mystery. But while Dalton's trying to decipher these notes, he goes to Clarendon's house, and he walks in on Clarendon preparing a morphine injection.
Uh-oh.
And guess who it's for?
Don't tell me, Georgina.
You got it.
This is not looking good at all.
No, it's not. And as Dalton confronts Clarendon, demanding answers, well, that's when the truth about the black fever and Clarendon's descent into madness, it all comes spilling out.
So what is the truth? What's really going on with this black fever?
Brace yourself, because this is where things get Lovecraftian. Clarendon confesses that the black fever isn't a natural disease at all.
It's not.
Nope, it's something ancient, something otherworldly, a plague brought to Earth by, you guessed it, Sarama.
So Sarama isn't just some weird assistant. He's something else entirely. Like some kind of ancient evil being.
You're catching on. And it gets worse. Clarendon admits that he's been helping spread the plague through his inoculations.
Wait, what? He was deliberately making people sick, but why? He was a doctor. He was supposed to be helping people.
That's what makes this so terrifying. Clarendon, under Sarama's influence and consumed by his own twisted ambition, he's been experimenting on prisoners, animals, even his own servants.
That's just horrific. It's like his pursuit of knowledge turned him into a monster.
It's a classic Lovecraftian theme, the idea that there are forces in the universe, things so ancient and so alien that just encountering them can shatter our sanity.
It's like Clarendon's quest for knowledge led him straight into a cosmic nightmare.
Exactly, and it devoured him whole. Remember that chilling line from Clarendon's confession? He said, I wanted to kill, kill, and kill. Science, a blind. I wanted to see living things writhe and squirm, scream and froth at the mouth.
Ugh, that sends chills down my spine. So what about Sarama? Was he manipulating Clarendon, or was Clarendon willingly participating in all this?
That's the thing with Lovecraft, he never gives us easy answers. Was Sarama pulling the strings, or was he more like a catalyst, awakening a darkness that was already inside Clarendon? It's left open to interpretation.
It's like the story is saying that even the most brilliant minds can be corrupted, that the pursuit of knowledge can have terrifying consequences.
Absolutely. The last test is a cautionary tale. It's about the potential for human ambition to lead us down a path of self-destruction, about the dangers of tampering with forces we don't understand.
So what happens next? Does Clarendon just keep going down this dark path?
It's almost like he hits this point of no return and, well, he makes a drastic decision.
What does he do?
Faced with the full horror of what he's become, he decides to end it all. He sets fire to his clinic.
He burns it down.
Yeah, everything inside himself, Sarama, it all goes up in flames.
So he commits suicide. But why? Was it out of guilt, or was he trying to cover up his crimes?
It's another one of those Lovecraftian mysteries. It could be remorse, a desperate attempt to undo the suffering he caused, or maybe a final act of defiance, like he's trying to keep the world from getting its hands on his twisted research.
Maybe it was a bit of both.
Exactly. Lovecraft doesn't give us easy answers, does he?
Nope. And even the fire itself, it's described as, I don't know, unnatural, almost like it has a mind of its own. The story even mentions this terrifying, otherworldly shriek that comes from the flames.
It's like the very forces that Clarendon unleashed were turning on him, consuming him in this final, horrific act.
So Clarendon and Sarama die in the fire, and that's the end of the Black Fever, right?
Well, the immediate threat seems to vanish, but there are these little details that Lovecraft sprinkles throughout the story, things that just make you uneasy.
Like what?
Well, remember the skeletons that the firemen find in the ruins of the clinic?
Yeah, one was probably Clarendon, but the other one was described as something, well, something unlike anything known to science. I think this story even said something about disturbing suggestions of lines of evolution, of which paleontology has revealed no trace.
Right. It's like even in death, there are these lingering mysteries, these forces beyond our comprehension still out there.
It's that classic Lovecraftian feeling of cosmic dread, that even if you escape the immediate danger, you're never truly free from the horrors you've witnessed.
Exactly. And it makes you think about the role of the media in all of this. How quickly the people of San Francisco turned on Clarendon, fueled by sensationalized stories and fear-mongering.
Yeah, it's a reminder that we always have to be careful about the information we consume, especially when things are chaotic and everyone's scared.
Absolutely. The last test is like a cautionary tale about the power of misinformation, about how easily fear can be manipulated, and how important it is to be critical of what we read and hear.
And what about Georgina and Dalton? Do they ever recover from this whole ordeal?
Lovecraft hints that they do find some happiness, eventually, but it's pretty clear that they're forever marked by what happened. Like even years later, just encountering someone who's tall and thin with a deep voice, it triggers these awful memories of Sarama.
The trauma never really goes away, does it?
It seems not. It just becomes a part of who they are, shaping how they see the world and how they interact with others.
So, in the end, it's not just about the monsters out there in the universe. It's about the monsters we can become and the scars they leave behind.
Well said. It's that psychological depth that makes Lovecraft's work so compelling and so unsettling. It stays with you long after you finish the story.
I think that about sums it up for the last test. A story about ambition, the pursuit of knowledge, and the terrifying consequences of encountering forces beyond our comprehension. What do you think was the most unsettling part of the story?
For me, it's the ambiguity, that lingering sense of unease. We never really know for sure what Sarama was or what his true motives were. It's like Lovecraft is saying that there are things in the universe that are best left unknown, secrets that can shatter our sanity if we dare to uncover them.
So we're left with these questions, these unsettling possibilities. Where do we draw the line when it comes to scientific exploration? And what happens when our thirst for knowledge leads us to places we were never meant to go?
Questions that we'll probably never have definitive answers to, but maybe that's part of the point. Lovecraft's stories aren't about neat and tidy resolutions. They're about confronting the vastness of the unknown and the fragility of our own understanding.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the unsettling world of The Last Test. We hope you enjoyed exploring these dark corners of H.P. Lovecraft's imagination with us.
Until next time, keep searching for knowledge, keep questioning the world around you, but maybe, just maybe, leave a light on.